trouble is going down through the entire town, wreaking anarchy and all it brings. I can't sit idly, no, I can't move at all. I curse the name, the one behind it all. Discord, I'm howling out the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever did we do to make you take our world away? Discord, are we a prey alone, or are we just a stepping stone for taking back the throne? Discord, we won't take it anymore, so take a tyranny away.
BAH Brent Houseman here with the next episode of the My Little Pony Vlogs. The last one went over episodes 4 through 6, so I'll go over 7 through 9 this time. Like I said in the last one, I did watch quite a few episodes recently because I just got into them. So anyways, let's go on. Episode 7 is Dragon Shy, and this is perhaps my favorite episode so far. This episode centers around Fluttershy, the shy, quiet, and really adorable member of the ponies group. Now, she notices that while working with her animals, as she does, that there's a huge cloud of smoke going over Ponyville. And it worries her, obviously, because she's afraid that it'll hurt her friends, everybody in Ponyville, and the animals. So she starts to try and warn everybody, but because she's so quiet, they really can't hear her. And she's really trying, but at the same time, it's sort of showing how a very quiet, shy character really doesn't stick out to people. And that speaks to me because I'm very quiet and shy myself. I don't talk to people a lot, and it takes a lot for me to interact. So that really speaks to me because I always feel like I'm like that, like I'm invisible to people. And Twilight, I believe, is the one who actually brings it to everybody's attention. She's more outgoing. So she brings it to everybody's attention, and they find out that a dragon has taken to a nearby cave, and he's sleeping, basically. When he snores, it causes these clouds of smoke to come out of his nose, and basically covers Ponyville. It's threatening the land, of course. So they decide to go up the mountain to the cave where the dragon is to try and get him to stop, to get him to leave. I mean, it makes sense. And they obviously expect Fluttershy's affinity with animals to be very useful in this case. And I mean, it makes sense because dragons are animals too. Well, they go up the mountain and Fluttershy ends up revealing that she has a paralyzing fear of dragons. Rainbow Dash, I believe, is the one who's like, oh, but you took on a Manicore. You calmed a Manicore down. And she's like, oh, but it wasn't a dragon. And it's like, I get that, because everybody has something they're really afraid of. And they can do all these other brave things, but when it's something that actually they are really afraid of, that can paralyze them. I mean, I'm definitely afraid of heights, so it's the same kind of thing. But anyways, this fear of hers makes the journey difficult for the others because she doesn't want to go up and she's trying everything to stay down. They pretty much have to force her up the mountain. And once they reach the cave, Fluttershy just plain out refuses to enter. She's way too scared. So the other ponies try to evict the dragon in their own different ways. You know, Fluttershy being brash and all, she tries to force the dragon out. Twilight tries to talk to the dragon and get it to leave, stuff like that. But they end up getting basically knocked out of the cave by the dragon, and they get knocked against a rock, which breaks, and Fluttershy's behind it. The dragon comes out, starts roaring, starts basically throwing a fit at them, because he was just trying to sleep. And at this point, it happens. Fluttershy snaps. She sees her friends get hurt, and she becomes totally enraged. And this part really, I just geeked out. Because Fluttershy, like I said, she's my favorite character. She's a shy, quiet, cutesy character. But when she snapped, that again reminded me of myself. Because I will protect what I believe in. Even if I have to get loud and brash and violent even. I will protect what I believe in. And because she saw her friends get angry, she gets enraged and she starts yelling at the dragon. She completely overcomes her fear instantly. She starts yelling at him. She starts scolding him for hurting her friends. And actually, she makes the dragon cower away and cry. That is epic. But eventually, she starts talking to him a little calmer. She ends up calming down, and she just starts to talk to the dragon. And she gets him to leave of his own accord. And this solves the problem. This episode is very powerful to me because it shows how someone who's very quiet, shy, and timid like that will still stick up for their friends and stick up for what they believe in, even if they are afraid. Because, you know, courage, bravery, is not doing something, is not being not afraid. Bravery is doing something that is right even though you're afraid. And Fluttershy proved this. She was terrified of that dragon, but she knew what she had to do. So this episode really spoke to me, and I loved it. But I guess we gotta move on, because we have to have time for the next two. So, episode 8 is Look Before You Sleep. This one is obviously a title pun of Look Before You Leap. And it's an okay one. It's not as good as the one before that, though. Basically, Applejack and Rarity are preparing for a thunderstorm. Okay, it's an interesting concept already. I like Applejack, I hate Rarity. Go Applejack. So they're arguing over their respective approaches. Because because they're basically trying to get the trees ready. Applejack's trying to prune the trees so that no loose twigs can fall on people and stuff. But Rarity's trying to make him look pretty, because she does that, I guess. And she's so vain, and like I've said before, I hate Rarity. So, they're arguing. It starts to just completely get out of hand, and it traps them outside, because the storm suddenly hits. However, they end up finding Twilight. They get to Twilight's house, and she invites them in to basically spend the night. And, I mean, you see Twilight's obviously going to do that, because they're friends. But still, Applejack and Rarity continue to fight, and even though that, Twilight decides that because they're there, she's going to throw her first ever slumber party. Twilight's never had a slumber party before, so, I mean, it's a good concept. Little girls, which this show is targeted towards, love slumber parties. It's a thing. Applejack and Rarity obviously don't want this because they really do not like each other right now. And their hostility begins to gradually increase throughout the entire episode. Every time they do a different activity, it gets worse and worse. And Twilight just seems completely oblivious to this. And honestly, I don't know if I like that, because throughout the rest of the series, Twilight seems to have been very smart and she notices things. But now she's just completely oblivious just because she wants the slumber party. So I don't know if I like that too much, but it's not a bad thing. But anyways, as all three of them begin to go to sleep, a lightning bolt threatens to send a tree branch into a nearby home. And you get the idea. Applejack wants to obviously protect the other house, and so she uses her lasso to stop it. However, she kind of did it with a rash thinking, and she just wanted to save the other house, obviously, but she ends up dragging the tree branch and most of the tree into Twilight's house. But obviously, she didn't mean it, and it just causes a huge mess, though. But it forces Applejack and Rarity to work together to reconcile their differences, and to get rid of the branch and clean up the mess. And it works. They actually become friends again. And they apologize, and they and Twilight enjoy the rest of the slumber party. That's how the episode goes. Like I said, this is a good episode in that it teaches about basically seeing both sides of an argument, seeing both sides of two different things. Basically, it's hard to explain, but you get the idea. So it's good in that form, but like I said, there's a couple problems with it, and it's not great. It's good, but it's not great. It's nothing like Dragon Shy was. But moving on to episode 9, Bridal Gossip. Bridal Gossip, obviously a title of Idle Gossip. Now this one honestly did not interest me at all when I first started watching it, but it got better throughout. It just never ended up getting there for me. I'm not saying the message was bad. It just never got there for me. But the point is that Twilight Sparkle finds that everyone in Ponyville seems to be terrified of this mysterious zebra named Zecora, who lives in the Everfree Forest. Obviously, the Everfree Forest has been a form of fear for the ponies throughout the series. And so now they find this Zecora zebra who lives there, and they've never seen a zebra besides her, so they think she's like weird, and Rarity thinks her stripes are just some kind of fashion disaster, until Twilight tells her that they're part of her bot, and they're part of what she actually looks like, and then Rarity faints, because, yeah. But Twilight tries to tell them that their fears are unfounded. You get it. So, Apple Bloom, who's Applejack's younger sister, actually gets a big part in this episode. So she's encouraged to try and to get this all sorted out, and she's on Twilight's side. So she follows Zecora back to the Everfree Forest into her home. That's when the others notice her missing. Obviously it takes a bit, which kind of seems weird to me, but eh. So they end up recovering her. They end up finding her as she's entering a field of blue flowers. Zecora's there as well, and Zecora warns them off, basically telling them to stay away, and you get the idea. So the very next day, Twilight and her friends, they seem to be suffering some very weird problems. Like, Twilight's horn is like all floppy and spotted and weird, and it just can't use magic. And Pinkie Pie's tongue is another example. You get the idea. So they seem to have been cursed. That's what they conclude. They think that Zecora had cursed them. And, of course, Apple Bloom is not surprisingly, missing again. So this leads them to think that, okay, Zecora took her. So they're blaming Zecora for everything. And even Twilight at this point is thinking that it had to be Zecora, because obviously all the signs point towards her. And so they race to Zecora's hut in the Everfree Forest to confront her. There, they find her and Apple Bloom are actually working together, which confuses them naturally, but they're making a potion to cure everybody of their problems. They find out this was caused by the poison joke flowers, the blue flowers they had stepped in before. So it wasn't Zecora's fault at all, and once they end up all getting cured, Twilight and her friends end up starting to convince the town's ponies, all the people in the town, that they should be more trusting of Zecora, because Zecora actually helped them. This episode has a very strong racist message to it, because throughout a lot of the episode, they're frightened and very aggressive towards someone who's completely different than them. And that's how racism was. And then, basically, it goes through them learning that maybe she's not so bad. Maybe she may be different, but maybe that's not a bad thing. And it's a very strong message, and I really like it. Like I said, I didn't start off liking the episode that much, but it actually grew on me throughout. And it's good. But that's about all the time I have for episodes 7 through 9 were good episodes, pretty much. And Dragon Shy, I keep wanting to say Flutter Dragon. Dragon Shy was really, really good. But that's about it for now. And I'm going to pretty much go over 3 more episodes today. 10, 11, and 12. So see you at the next vlog.